Here we are, everybody. Season 2. The pinnacle and the roller coaster to the top of Chuck, where it all really begins. Now, Season 1 was a lot of fun, but Season 2 is where it starts to get fantastic. And you're going to see why this season, if you haven't watched it, or if you have watched it. If you have watched it, you know why Season 2 is fantastic. And if you haven't, then you'll learn really fast. It's pretty good. It's pretty nice. So let's catch up, do a little housekeeping. On my hiatus, I noticed that we hit over 500 downloads of the podcast. I would like to thank everybody for that. 500 downloads. That's a lot of downloads, guys. I did not expect 500 downloads, like ever, with this podcast. And we're only 13 episodes in. So, I mean, that's pretty good math if you ask me. It's like 30, 40 downloads per episode. That's pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed the past week and a half, 2 weeks that I've taken off, a little hiatus. But we're back, guys. We're back for Season 2. We're gonna chug along, hit all the important stops. So here we go, guys. Chuck versus the First Date, Season 2, Episode 1. Let's hit it. So we begin the episode discussion, Chuck versus the First Date, like we did last season, with hit of the episode and song of the episode. Let's do song of the episode first, because I want to talk about the music. Now, Season 1's music is really good, but Season 2 is just phenomenal. It blows Season 1 out of the water, bar none. This episode itself had like 3 or 4 songs that were up for probably 4 or 5 songs that were up for contention for song of the episode. I mean, they were up for contention. None of them really had a chance against the winner, but they were competing for sure. They tried their hardest. Because I want to let you know, folks, if there's a Frightened Rabbit song in a Chuck episode, that's gonna be my pick. It's biased, but I love that band so much that they're gonna be the pick. Now, second place was close with Fuda Fafa by the Flight of the Conchords, because they're hilarious. If you've never seen their stand-up or their TV show, go watch it after the Chuck rewatch, obviously, because that's the important part right now. I mean, I'm doing a podcast about it. And also, Huey Lewis songs. Huey Lewis is a fantastic artist, and he deserves all credit for the Power of Love and I'm blanking on the other song. I don't know why. Hip to Be Square. I don't know why I blanked on that. I love that song. But like I said, folks, if there's a Frightened Rabbit song in the episode, that's what I'm gonna pick. So, Chuck versus the First Date's song of the episode goes to Frightened Rabbit for the twist. And I'd like to thank everybody at Frightened Rabbit for making such a fantastic song, and congratulations on winning song of the episode. Now, let's go to the hit of the episode. Man, when this episode had action, it had some action, man. When it didn't have action, it didn't have any action. It didn't. But I've got a winner. Got a pretty good winner. And the winner of Season 2, Episode 1, Chuck vs. the First Date, hit of the episode goes to... That was a drum roll if you didn't hear it. If you couldn't tell what that was a drum roll. It was a pretty bad drum roll, but you know, you do what you gotta do. Anyway, hit of the episode goes to Sarah Walker when she roundhouse kicked Colt in the face. Just took him out. And there we have it. Congratulations, Yvonne Strahovski, and you're picking up the first win of season two's hit of the episode. Um, like I said, I'm gonna keep a scoreboard check going this season. Last season's winner was John Casey. Congrats on that. But this season we might have a new winner. We might have a new winner this season, guys. You never know. You just never know. So, congratulations. All right. So let's delve into the episode at hand. A lot of good stuff going on here. Now, I'm going to start at the buy more because that's not necessarily it's as big as the other things going on in this episode. We'll say that. All right. So let's start at the buy more. Now, Chuck has just this is the first episode of season 2. He's come back. He's like, guys, the Intersect's almost done. I don't want to work at the buy more forever. Once I get this Intersect out, I'm gonna go enjoy life. I'm gonna go have fun, travel the world, get a job that's not at the buy more. And he's all excited about that. So he's starting to contemplate what's his next move in life. And that's when the buy more strikes. And by the buy more strikes, I mean people at the buy more want him to do stuff. That includes not leaving. So we get Morgan and his battlefield plans to fight the Large Mart. I hope they win that. By the way, the Call of Duty match between Buymore and Large Mart. I hope Buymore wins that. Large Mart seems like a bunch of douchey bags. But anyway, so Morgan's got this absolutely complex battle plan to fight Large Mart, and as we see later on in the episode, that battle plan, the fact that he made that battle plan, is what saves Chuck's life. So here's to you, Morgan, for keeping your boy safe when you didn't even know you're keeping your boy safe. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, I think. That I mean, I like video games, and it's kind of cool that they're so interested. They're interested enough to make a battle plan for a Call of Duty match. It's just funny. But anyway, so that happens, and then Big Mike wants to talk to Chuck. And I think we all kind of knew what he was going to talk about, and that he was going to offer him the assistant manager position. And now, I mean, he just asked at the wrong time. He asked, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be the assistant manager?" He's like, "Nah, man. Right now, I'm contemplating leaving this place." He didn't really tell him that, but I mean, he was at the time. Chuck's sitting there like, "Hey, I want to leave. I want to do stuff with my life. I've got this Intersect that's about to be taken out of my head and everything." I mean, he doesn't know what Casey's supposed to do, but you catch my drift. Anyway, so Big Mike offers him the assistant manager position, but Chuck, like I said, Chuck is he's contemplating. He doesn't see his future at a buy more, so he turns it down. And because he turns him down, he is subjected to Big Mike's punishment for turning him down, which is to find the new assistant manager and do all the interviews himself. That's also because he's scared of his own employees. And that's fair, because his employees are kind of creepy sometimes. Not all of them. Just Jeff and Lester. Sometimes Anna. But I digress. Anyway, so Chuck has to interview all the positions. So all the usual candidates are trying out. Anna doesn't actually. It seems like Anna doesn't actually want the job. She just wants to make Morgan jealous because that's weird, and they want to make us uncomfortable. And it did a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little uncomfortable when she was flirting with Chuck. It's kind of weird. I mean, Not that she was flirting with him was kind of weird, just the way she was doing it and why she was doing it was kind of weird. I don't know. I may be the only one on that. I probably am the only one on that, but that's how I feel about that. And then we have Jeffrey, who gives a fantastically hilarious interview, in my opinion. He comes in and he starts off positive. He starts off strong with his resume on a napkin, written in like what looks like either marker, lipstick, or colored pencil. So where he got the lipstick, I'll never know. Maybe his mom. Who knows? But anyway, he like I said, his resume's on a napkin, and he also tries to flirt with Chuck to get the job by seducing him, which doesn't work. Just doesn't seem to work. Poor Chuck. Poor seduction techniques. And so Jeffrey doesn't get the job. Then we have Lester Patel, who is a little bit of a narcissist, but also hilarious at the same time. He has his own Wikipedia page, so he says, which he probably wrote himself, even though he claims that he has fans that wrote it. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, he doesn't decide, and he's got to go. He wants to go help get that cipher back. Chuck's got to go, wants to go and help get that cipher back, so he goes and gives Morgan the job of picking the new assistant manager. So Morgan, not wanting to do it in the old-fashioned way of who is the most qualified for the job, offers an opportunity at winning the assistant manager job position with the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome. Now, if you don't know what the Thunderdome is, it's from an old movie, and it's where people battle to the death. And they're not going to battle to the death here, obviously, but it is Jeff versus Lester. Jeff versus Lester, not Lefter. That's rude, Lester. But anyway, I greatly appreciate a reference to Thunderdome and the fact that the winner of Thunderdome becomes the assistant manager, because honestly, that's the best way to pick your assistant manager. You want someone who's going to fight for the company, and that's what they're doing. They're fighting for the company as we speak, and I wouldn't really say slapping each other is fighting, but they are fighting for the company in the Thunderdome, and it's effective. It's effective in my opinion. More fight for the company. Anyway, so as we see at the end of the episode how that pans out, Lester won. Lester wins in the Buy More Battle Royale in the Thunderdome, and he is your new assistant manager. Now, if anybody is going to go on a power trip, it would be Lester. He seems like he's already started a power trip at the end when he's talking to Chuck. And he's saying stuff like, "Hey, I have a bunch of complaints about you." And Chuck's like, "Really? Do you?" It's like, "No, I don't, actually. But I don't have any compliments." And that's the same in my book. And Chuck gives him a glare and he just walks off. He kind of goes away because Chuck is not in the mood to talk at that point, because he's still the Intersect, and he gonna be the Intersect for a long time. And so that's what the Bymore's up to. Oh yeah, also, I mean, Morgan comes in, has a heart-to-heart with Chuck about doing stuff with their lives and stuff. Because, Morgan is only working at the Bymore because Chuck is working at the Bymore. So Morgan would try and follow Chuck to the ends of the earth for a job, just to be there for him. He's a good friend. Morgan is a great, great friend. He is willing to sacrifice, and he just know he's he's good. He knows what he knows how to take care of things. We'll say that. And then obviously everybody wants to watch Jeff die because everybody is eager to watch him try and eat 90 Twinkies in under 3 minutes. Even Casey is willing to watch that. He at first he hears you want to see or Chuck's like, hey Casey, 90 Twinkies in under 3 minutes, and he's like, oh, that sounds disgusting, because it is disgusting. But then he hears, yeah, and then he hears Morgan go, yeah, and Jeff might die because of it. And he goes, oh, that piqued my interest, and he sprints. They're all ready to go watch Jeff. They're all ready to go watch Jeff possibly die of Twinkie overdose. Those aren't good friends. I don't know what is. So there you have it, boys and girls. That's the buy more this episode. That is a strong buy more episode. Now, before we delve into the total package of the villain, let's talk about John Casey. Now, at this point, John Casey knows his orders. When that Intersect goes live, he's got to pop Chuck in the back of the face. He's got to kill him. He's got to take care of him, according to Beckman and Graham. So he is hesitant about his orders enough to the fact that when he's practicing shooting Chuck by shooting his revolving targets in his fireplace, he misses. He shoots Bin Laden. He shoots Hitler. Doesn't shoot at all Ronald Reagan, because that's his boy. And then he misses when he shoots Chuck. Completely misses. Didn't even hit him. And that's when we start to notice that Casey's starting to be a little sentimental towards our boy Chuck. That's pretty cool. But anyway, I mean, he's nervous. He doesn't want to shoot Chuck, and there's a couple reasons behind that. First off, he thinks that he has deserved more than just being shot by his government after all he's done for the team, and he's right. He's right on that aspect. And he also doesn't want to shoot Chuck because he's starting to, I guess, bond with Chuck a little bit. Not much, but I mean a little bit. And then Beckman and them are like, hey, these are orders, man. You got to do it. Now, I'm going to discuss this because there are solid arguments on both sides of this, and I want to hit on this. Now, obviously, as fans of the TV show, we do not want Casey to shoot Chuck because Chuck is a man. I mean, he's the lead of the show, and everybody loves Chuck, and so we don't want him dead. So that's a solid argument for. Plus, he's the lead for the show, so that's a solid argument against shooting him. Another solid argument against shooting him is he's served his country. He has done everything. He was an unwilling participant in the Intersect, and instead of using it to make bukus of money by selling his brain to people, he just decides to help the CIA and the NSA. He decides to help them in catching bad guys and stuff. Not a lot of people would do that, honestly. I would, because I don't believe that if you tried to sell the secrets, people wouldn't just try and extract them and then kill you, but who knows. Anyway, so that's another solid argument, is that his patriot, he's helped his country, like, humongously. Humongously? That doesn't sound right. He's helped his country hugely. I mean, and Casey notices that. He's like, hey, I mean, come on, the kid's doing his kid's going above and beyond the call. And he's also, another argument is that Casey has become somewhat fond of Chuck, not like completely, but somewhat. And that's pretty cool in my book, at least. But General Beckman and Graham's argument is also solid. Look, this guy still has the Intersect in his head, and when they build the new one, they don't know how to get the Intersect out of Chuck's head. So I mean, if he's just walking down the street in LA and Fulcrum gets him, Fulcrum figures out that he has the Intersect in his head still, they just torture him and kill him. Get what they want anyway. So I mean, there's just it's a solid argument. Their argument is that he could potentially ruin them at any moment. And they're not wrong. That's why it's a strong argument. He very well could do it. He very well could ruin stuff. And that sucks. But, I mean, it's the truth. Now, I want to hear your opinion on this. Is General Beckman and Graham's argument for shooting Chuck a solid one? I personally think it is. Now, obviously, I don't want them to shoot him, but I see their argument, and I know it's a valid argument that's has strong supporting evidence. So that's how I feel about the subject. But I'll let you decide. So, like I said, send me your opinion. Opinions on that on Twitter at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck, or on the Intersect Project podcast page on either Chuckaholics or the official Chuck Wiki. Just put your opinions out there. I really do want to hear them. I haven't gotten I've gotten no. Let's put it that way. I've gotten no feedback on opinions, but I mean that's fine. If you guys don't want to share your opinions, that's cool. I'll keep talking, but I do care about your opinions. That's why I do this. You guys are cool. So that about does it for Casey. Pretty much this episode for Casey was him screwing up with the cipher drop off, almost dying from what I only assume was a caustic substance. So almost dying and almost killing Chuck, and then getting punched in the face by Colt with the ring. That had to hurt. Did anybody else think of Nelly when Casey was wearing that Band-Aid on his face when he was about to shoot Chuck? All I could think about was any Nelly song, just back in the day when he had that Band-Aid on his face. I don't know why. I just thought that was funny for some reason. But anyway, that about wraps it up for Casey. So now I want to talk about Colt and the mission. Now, when we first open up the episode, we find out that Colt has this thing called the Cipher. And that thing is going to help them rebuild the Intersect. The CIA and the NSA build the Intersect. And it's Team Bartowski's job to get it back. There's one problem. Colt is played by the very intimidating Michael Clark Duncan. Rest in peace. May he rest in peace. Who, honestly, I'm not ashamed of this. He's in my top 3 of bad guys. He's in my top 3. Top 3, top 4. He's either 3 or 4, and he's a 1-episode guy. It's not a spoiler, but he's a 1-episode guy, and he is a fantastic 1-episode bad guy. Mostly because I'm a big fan of Michael Clark Duncan, but he's a fantastic 1-episode bad guy in this show, and he's like in my top 3, top 4 villains of the entire series. So that's how awesome he is, in my opinion. Now, he wants that cipher bad because I believe Fulcrum's paying for it at this point. Who knows? Or he's just trying to sell it. I don't know. But anyway, so he is doing that, and so he loses the cipher and gets away, but he tracks them down, gets the cipher back from Casey by, like I said, spraying caustic substance in his face, caustic gas, something like that. But anyway, so Colt wins, or not wins, but he gets what he wanted back. He gets the cipher back, and Chuck, Team Bartowski goes to find him to get that cipher back, so Chuck cannot be the Intersect anymore. And so he goes back, gets the they get the cipher, and it's not easy, obviously. Chuck goes to the right place, but Sarah and Casey go to the wrong place, leaving Chuck to try and fend off Colt by himself. But we see another instance of Chuck's ingenuity at play when he uses Morgan's battle plan to scare Colt and his team enough to where he can take the cipher and run off, at least buying him a little bit of time. I thought it was really funny. He's like, when he's talking to Morgan on the phone in front of Colt, and he's like, "Tell me the battle plan." He lists off all the people. He's like, "Yeah, we got a little impatient and took out one of the sentries," and they're all freaking out. They're like, "What? What? That must have been Jeff, man. I thought he was in the can. That sucks." It was funny. Or I thought it was funny, at least. So Morgan helps Chuck with the battle plan, and Chuck is able to run off with the cipher, at least for a little bit. And then Colt puts his imposing face on again and punches Chuck through a window. Now, that takes a lot of strength, and that's scary that someone can do that. And I know that it's based that probably someone could do that, and that's scary. That's not cool. So there's a battle royale, and Sarah and Casey come to deck, and Colt throws Chuck off the building. Casey catches him, saves him, but Sarah loses her mind, and we'll get back to that topic when I talk about Chara after this. Anyway, so that happens, and Chuck goes down, gets his team, and he saves the day. They get the cipher back, and they give it to the CIA and the NSA, and they upload it, and it blows up, and Graham is dead, along with like 5 or 6 other agents that were trying to get all the secrets, and they're dead, and Chuck is still the Intersect, and Casey does not have to kill Chuck yet, for now at least. So here we have it. That's the mission section. Now I want to do a brief little talk about Chuck and his problems living with his sister. He's in mid to late 20s. He should not be living with his sister. I understand why he does, because his job probably does not afford an apartment by himself. But who knows? He still should not live with his sister and his sister's fiance / boyfriend. And because of things like what happened when he woke up to It's Hip to Be Square. Namely walking in on them taking a shower together. Now that sucks. You should not. That's not something Chuck should see. That's not something Ellie should want Chuck to see either. Should have locked the door. And then what Chuck says afterwards is just hilarious when he's talking to Devin, and he's like, one sec. Alright, and he's like, he's talking to Devin, and he's like, God gave you a gift or something like that. He's like, What he's something about God giving him a great gift. Talking about, you know, you know what he's talking about, and it's just it's funny. It's funny to me, and like I said, that sucks for him, and he should get his own place. And he even mentioned that he's like, hey, yeah, I should probably get my own place at this point. Anyway, now let's talk about the last topic of the episode. Let's talk about Chara. Now, at the end of last season, they were back on good terms, and we're starting to realize that Sarah has more and more feelings for Chuck each episode. And in this episode, we see a prime example of that when she goes, hey Chuck, you can do and have whatever you want, and flashes that smile. That's a little flirtation saying, hey, if you want me, come and get me. If you want me, come and get me. Nah, 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 nah. That's a song. That's a song. It's not in the episode, but that is a song. Anyway, so Chuck he doesn't do anything about it then. But the next day, after learning that he has to find the new assistant manager job, he goes to talk to Sarah because, hey, he's not going to be the Intersect. He doesn't think he's going to be the Intersect that much longer. And so he asks Sarah on a date. He mans up and does it. And she says yes. She said yes. She said yes. And now they're going on their first date. And we know it's a real date because she didn't bring her gun. She did not bring her gun. And they were having a lot of fun on that date. They were almost kissing in the middle of a restaurant at dinner. That's how much fun they were having on that date. You can tell Chuck has definitely got some strong feelings for Sarah, and Sarah's definitely got some strong feelings for Chuck. This Chara thing, it's starting to come to fruition. Things are happening, and it's good. Now, obviously, they can't be together anymore as of right now because they're still working together, and that would be unprofessional. Chuck still has the Intersect in his head, and she's still technically his superior trainer, so a handler. So they cannot compromise. She cannot compromise herself with the Intersect because that's just her job. She can't do it. But that's gonna be hard for her because she loves Chuck. You can tell, and it's just sad that they can't be together right now just because of all of the things that happen, of all the things that are going on, like the well, like the I lost my train of thought, so I'm just gonna stop there. I'm sorry, guys. So there we go. There we have it. Chara is left out in the cold once more by the CIA and the NSA, who obviously don't want true love to exist. I'm looking at you, Beckman. I would look at you, Graham, but you're dead, technically, so can't look at you. But Beckman, I'm staring at you. You don't want true love. Everybody wants true love, except for you. Anyway, that does it, folks. We've shared a few laughs, maybe cried a little bit, shed tears together, but overall, it was a fun episode, and I enjoyed it. I hope you also did. So, thank you for listening. Thanks for getting over 500 downloads. Thanks for continuing on with me to season 2. Let's make this a fantastic podcast season. Signing off, I'm Paul. Remember, kids, everybody loves Chuck. Some people just don't know it yet.